My plan is to switch out the side support for this yellow pipe and use this. I took the old armrests off and I'm gonna replace them with these. But before that I have to remove the pillow. I did 2 cuts in the seat and figured out where I want the yellow pipes to be. So now I can use the gray foam to wrap it around the pipe. Now that I have everything mocked up and try to sit in it, I will take it back apart and use this fake leather to glue it on. So I don't have this gaffer tape look, but a proper nice leather seat. This is how it looks. I still have to permanently mount the sides, but I think it will give a much better support, and I think it looks better than the tape. So I'm quite happy with that. Next up, I have to glue this back onto the metal. I have some spray glue, so I will use that. I'm back in the workshop with the chair. So next up, I will fit those guys onto the chair. As you can see, I cut a piece here, so this will slide right here, and then this will bolt on the side. I want to bolt them and not just weld it, because then I can deattach it in case I want to redesign those. I drilled some holes and tightened some bolts, and now it looks like this. I have 2 bolts on the top, 1 on the side. The reason why I have 2 up here is for stability and that I can adjust it a little bit. If I put a washer in one of them, then this angle would change. Either get it closer or further away. So I have some adjustability, probably not a ton, but better than nothing. So next up, I will put the cover back in, see how it is to sit in it, and then go from there. First, I have to take it a little bit apart so I can get the cover back in. Maybe it's just enough with those. Ta-da! I might just throw it on this lawnmower. Doesn't quite fit. It's sitting right here and here. Guess I have to get a little bit creative. I know it's quite a bit further in the front than I wanted right now. Oh yeah, this seat's nice. Honestly, this is really good. I can feel that I'm really locked in. My body's not gonna move anywhere. And these supports on the side are a game changer compared to the other ones. Now I just need to make it fit. And I have an idea how to do it. After thinking about it for a little bit, I decided to make a cut right here. So I take 1/2 off and get this bolt all the way to the metal. So it should give me like 2 centimeters on each side, which should be plenty. So what I did now to make a little bit of clearance is I basically cut the pipe and flatten it out. So now, instead of taking 2.5 centimeters, it's only a couple of millimeters, so it will fit now. Already checked. So next up, I'm gonna put some glue on this, put it back in, tape it in position, and then put on the lawnmower. So what I will use to glue it back on is this spray glue. I used it last time, it worked quite well, so I'm gonna use it again. I think that's enough glue. I will leave it for a couple of minutes. While the glue is drying, I will work on the footrest. I already marked it, so now I just have to cut it and then see if it fits. Not fully tight yet, but I will have to adjust the brake, but I'm convinced it will help a lot. It's the next day and decided to cut some bolts. These bolts are going on the seat and they're too long, so they would poke my butt, so I'm gonna cut them to size. But before that, I just want to show you, when I opened it, it started freezing instantly. So it's quite cold. When cutting bolts, it can be quite tricky to cut the threads properly. So what I like to do is put a knot, so I can unthreaten it and thereby clean up the threads. I can unthreaten it, as you can see, and it's easy to get it back on. Here we go. If I wouldn't put the knot on first, it could be tricky to put the knot on. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I still fit in the seat, which is great. I need to adjust the brake a little bit. Not sure if the camera just recorded, but what I did is adjust the calipers. There's a bolt here with a nut, so I had to loosen the nut. And I turned the bolt roughly half a turn further in and then tightened it again. So now my pedal is adjusted to the footrest. So I will put the wheel back on and do a last streaks on the footrest before I can drive it. There we go. One last thing I actually want to do is move the footrest as far forward as possible. I will take the bolts out, drill 2 holes. Okay, and the last hole. Now that this is in position, let's try to drive it before it gets dark. I think the cloud is slipping a bit. I like the seat. The footrests have to be a little bit further, but apart from that, it's actually quite nice. The reason why I couldn't get up to speed today was that this belt is basically frogged. If you look at the belt, it's completely black and it actually fell off. And I noticed that the belt was turned 180 degrees, so that the inside was actually on the other side. Now that I'm mostly done with the editing, I can tell you about the numbers and compare them to last time. Last time in the brake test, I went from 29 kilometers to 0 in 10 meters. However, this time I ran from 32 kilometers an hour to 0 in 11 meters. It's a little bit longer. Maybe it was the weather, maybe it was that I was a little bit faster, but the main difference I could feel is actually how the seat felt. Last time I remember that I was about to fall off and it was a little bit sketchy to go fully on the brakes, but this time, no problem, fully strapped in, comfortable, not worried at all, so it made a big difference. And with that, I get to the other test. Let's go the other way around and start with the drag race. Last time I did the 50-meter sprint, I did it in 6.17 seconds. This time I did it in 8.2. That is 2 seconds slower. And similar is also the max speed. Last time I hit 46 kilometers an hour, where this time I only hit 29. That is because I need a new belt. I had to take the belt off at one point. I put it back on. I routed it the wrong way. It was rubbing. I ruined it. And that is why I couldn't accelerate. However, if we compare it to the slalom, where last time I did a 8.24 compared to a 8.83, that is only half a second different. And the main reason is that when I drove last time, I really had to strap in and I was fighting the lawnmower to stay in the seat. Where this time, I could just go full speed. Yes, I was slower in the beginning, but I could catch up all the time because I could just pin it to the floor and keep on accelerating the entire way through. That shows that the seat actually had a big impact in the slalom. Even though the lawnmower was 2 seconds slower over 50 meters, in the slalom I nearly hit the same time. So in that sense, I'm sure that it's a win. So my plan for next time is that I will start by putting a new belt on, doing the same test again so it has an equal comparison, and then we get some numbers, and then I will upgrade the next part. But with that, thank you so much. Maybe consider subscribing. If you're still watching this video, maybe click the next one. And with that, goodbye.